Hello, welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today we're going to be dyno tuning the Rev9 turbo kit, and I got it strapped on the dyno. It is a hot one today, but hopefully we still make some good power. I have put a few miles on the car on the dyno, and it's been doing really good. No leaks anywhere. Had to fix a few small exhaust leaks on the wastegate. That's all fixed now, and yeah, you guys have been kind of caught up to speed on the last few videos. So yeah, we're gonna get right to tuning, and this car's gonna be tuned on Honda Tuning Suite. So I have my tuning ECU installed, and we are gonna be tuning this thing. We're gonna run through the map and get everything dialed in on the low cam side, and then we're gonna work up to the high cam side. So come along with me. Let's get it ripping. So as you guys can see, we have the map opened up here. You can see on this map, I definitely need to clean this area up, even though we're not going to be running over here. But if we look in like the 2D graph, you can see where all this is like red at lower RPM than it is at higher RPM. We got to smooth that out. So you can see there's a big old jump right here. So we're going to have to bring all that down, and then we'll move on. Alright guys, we got the laptop pulled up here. We're going to work through this thing. This is a base map that I kind of am working off of already, that I already had. You can see our idle is a little lean, so we're probably going to adjust some of that. Program's going to crash. Dang it. I currently can't click any of this, like emulator or data log or any of that. It just kind of froze on me. So I've been trying to save this thing, save like the files. Yeah, like it's completely frozen right now. I've been trying to save the files like every time I make a change. If you try to pull up what's already here from the ECU, a lot of times it doesn't match like what I just did. All right guys, I got a bag of ice in front of the car to kind of help cool it off a little bit. Just running the car for like 10 minutes on the dyno, even with the fan on. It was getting like 207. So it's warm out today, but we're improvising. Let's get it. That first pull that we ended up doing there, I got out of it because it went like 1230 air fuel, and I wanted to just splash a little bit more fuel in it. So when it came into like higher boost range is when it went a little leaner, so I had to adjust the fuel map accordingly. So the pull when we got out of it made 173 horsepower and 249 foot-pounds of torque. So this thing, revving it to 4 grand and getting out of it, it's already making almost the same amount of power that it was all motor. So, yeah, that's really cool. So she's gonna make some jam, guys. This line is all motor. This is when it was all motor. This is the first pull that we did, not even staying in it past 4 grand. So we are going to see what she does after this. So I'm going to do one more run without Vtec, just to kind of verify that, to find out where Vtec's going to want to be, where our power is going to start dipping off, etc., etc. So we're going to do that first. We'll do another run. guys, that pull, I did stay in it just a little bit longer till about 6,000 RPM and I got out of it. And you can definitely see here, we are making better power now that I revved it out a little farther. But you can see up here where the torque is falling. We're gonna wanna stand that up by putting Vtec in it. But I always like dialing in the low cam side before I do high cam. So this car is going to want Vtec right around 4 grand or 4,200 to carry that torque curve out a little bit better. And yeah, we ended up making 215 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. This, you know, pretty healthy B20 with those camshafts being advanced just a little bit is really making this thing make a lot of torque down low. So that's really cool. It'll be a fun little street car. It'll rip the tires off. Yeah, so now we're gonna go in and turn Vtec on, but as you guys can see, it's just getting hotter and hotter in the shop. 90 degrees and 60% humidity. It is a warm one. So I'm gonna let the car cool off for a minute and then we will go again. All right, so I'm doing just kind of quick, quick short bursts with the car to just verify Vtec's working and checking over the fueling in Vtec and just, you know, obviously checking to see if it's making more power, and she's making some more power, guys. Definitely making more power. So this is getting a little busy here. Let me get rid of some of these. So these two right here are the ones that we're looking at. And you can see where I turned Vtec on, where the torque jumped up. So this one higher, obviously, and the horsepower is higher. So yeah, awesome. Gotta spin the car up now. I gotta do some 4th gear runs with it because let's just face it, 3rd gear is a little too short for this setup. It makes a lot of punch, a lot of mid-range down low power. I mean, revving the car like 6,000, 6,500, it's making 260 horsepower already, so very happy with that. I just have to reconfigure the dyno for 4th gear instead of 3rd. So this thing is a B16 transmission and it's pretty short geared, but 4th gear was a lot happier on the dyno for sure. 289 horsepower, 226 foot-pounds of torque. So the torque was reading a little bit higher in 3rd gear because you know, the load was less with the 3rd gear and the B16 transmission. Horsepower outputs are usually the same regardless of gear ratio. So these are our curves. That's all motor versus turbo, guys. 268 horsepower. Oh wait, that ain't even the one I'm fucking looking at. I got too many frickin' runs up here right now. 289 horsepower, there we go. 226 foot-pounds. And I cut it off at 7,500 just because, you know, stock rods, etc. All right, guys, so car's doing good. 289 horsepower so far on 7 pounds of boost, 7-8 pounds of boost. So it's definitely doing really good. Pump gas, I don't really like pushing cars, you know, very far, especially a B20. So we'll probably keep the boost low to keep the sleeves alive. And I'm gonna try to do a couple little things with the car to try to maybe bump up the power a little bit and just to do some experiments. So currently the car still has the air filter on it off of the turbo. I just made that little intake just because it was something that kind of fit and I figured I'd just throw it on there. So I'm gonna take off the air filter now, not touch anything in the tune, and I'm gonna see what kind of difference that makes. Just by taking the air filter off and yeah, not change anything else. I could probably rev the car a little bit higher, but I don't really want to, just because I don't like pushing V20s high RPM, stock rod V20s. If it had rods in it, I'd send it 9K all day, but the factory connecting rods and bolts just don't hang a lot of the time. Sometimes guys get lucky, but for this being something that's coming out of my shop, I want it to last, and I want it to be fun and reliable for the guy. So once again, there's our power curves, 7500 limiter on the turbo pull. All right guys, the air filter is removed, and this test may be a little bit different just because I have let the car cool down a lot considering the last couple pulls that I've done, but it's probably also gotten a little hotter outside. So we'll just see what it does. I'd be really curious maybe to do a back-to-back run with the air filter on and off, same heat, but then again, the more heat you put into the car, the less power it's gonna make naturally. So whatever, let's just try it, see what it does. So we did end up making a little bit more power, guys. It picked up almost everywhere on the curve. Let me get rid of this all motor pull so we can just focus on the boosted shit. Okay. So you guys can see the light blue is the new run and the purple is the new torque. So it overlaid pretty good. Up top, it definitely breathed a little better, I think. That was just removing the air filter and letting it cool off a little bit. Oh man, so close. So close. 299 horsepower, 231 foot-pounds. But I mean, this thing just comes on boost so fast. Full boost by like a little bit before 4,000 RPM. Super awesome. I might try 1 degree of timing and see if it picks up a lot. If it does, then we'll leave it. If it doesn't, we'll back it back down. So I'm gonna try that. But the air fuel and everything is doing really good. I got cruising. There's a couple little hiccups yet with cruising. Nothing bad, but I like to have them, you know, as close to 14 or so as possible. Yeah, sorry I didn't really go through a lot of the laptop stuff with you guys. I know a lot of you really like to see that stuff, but for me, it's just a lot easier mentally for me just to tune the car and show you the clips of tuning it and stuff. If I have to go through every car and, you know, go through the laptop and shit, it's just a lot more stressful for me, and it's harder for me to focus on actually tuning because I'm so worried about filming. Yeah, I like to be as focused as possible and direct as much attention to the car as I can, especially if it's a customer car. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll show you the timing map that's in the car currently. I'll do that at least. My laptop's almost dead now. Never mind, it is dead. So, I'm gonna charge the laptop and I'll get back with you in a minute. Alright guys, I promised I'd show you some stuff. So, timing map for Vtec here. We're running about 20 degrees of timing at 8.8 pounds of boost. And 11 pounds I'm running 15 degrees, which I could probably bump all this up, but we're only running between 5 and 8 pounds. So these two columns right here are where the car is running. So if he wants to turn the boost up later, I'm just gonna leave that timing really soft just cause so he won't hurt anything. But yeah. And then our low cam, I run pretty conservative timing in the middle where the turbo wants to light off. So we're only running about 14 degrees in the mid-range, 12 to 14 degrees at like 3 grand when this thing comes up on peak, like right when the turbo spools at low RPM. You don't want a lot of timing in it, especially with pump gas. So that's kind of where that's at. Our fuel map is looking really good. I might bump the limiter up just a few hundred just for a pull, just to kind of see if it's going to die off. So the limiter was 7,500. I'm going to do 78 just to see if it's going to pick up at all, that few hundred up top, and kind of see where this thing's going to die off. And I also added a degree of timing. Before, we were only running 19 degrees at 8 pounds. So now we're running 20. We got that uploaded. And it's dying on startup, which I have to fix too. So I have to give it a little bit of throttle in order to get it to start. So I'm just gonna try to maybe give it a little idle duty to see if that helps at all. I mean, it fires on the second crank, but the first crank it's still a little funny. And yeah, I just put that idle duty in it, and now it's gonna want to frickin' idle high. So we'll take that back out of it. These RC injectors kind of aren't the greatest, but they do work. They just don't idle and shit as smoothly as like a good injector. So there you go, guys. I lowered Vtec down to 4,000 as well. Put 1 degree in it. We'll see what she does. And the limiter is 300 RPM higher. Did not respond to that 1 degree of timing, but it did make more power revving it a little higher. So you guys can see the dark blue is the new one. I mean, maybe a half a horsepower it picked up, but up there where I revved it a little higher, it made over 300 horsepower, 301 horsepower, 231 foot-pounds. It's overlaying pulls very well. So I think I'm gonna call it here, and I think this one's going to be a very fun little street car that we helped build. So, or that we helped build, not build. Yeah, so very cool, very happy with that. We'll compare all motor to turbo now. And there's our difference. So these two bottom lines are all motor, and that is turboed. So you can see it picked up everywhere on the curve. There is not a spot it did not pick up power. So adding a turbo is always fucking awesome. This turbo is sized very well for this kind of power. It is a little bit small, and it is one of them eBay units, so they don't really like running high boost, but you know, less than 10 pounds like this thing's on, dialed. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this little 300 horsepower ripper. Maybe we'll get some street clips with it before the guy picks it up, but that'll come in another video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the results of the Rev9 turbo kit. So thanks for watching. Have a great night and better tomorrow.